But for more on this, so we're joined by our correspondent Rapelang Radebe. Rapelang, sir, tell us a little bit more about what occurred in Parliament today, as we saw some mixed emotions, out with the old, and the more experienced parliamentarians, I believe, have mostly been relegated to the opposition. What was the mood like as a result?
I wish I could start at the parking lot, hey? Looks like Monte Carlo for a minute there.
I was actually marveling at that.
Yeah, you can tell the serious guys are now in town and things are about to go different directions. But inside, well, anyway, it was quite, I think, a touching moment to see a whole lot of experienced career politicians now relegated to the opposition, but talking to them, still enthusiastic that they will be supporting and putting the government of the day into direction, but participating where needed. But I think most challenging was when they said they are fully committed to implementing the reforms process that collapsed in the last minutes of the 10th Parliament. And then I think they had accepted that they are in His Loyal Majesty's opposition, and they will be acting as such to carry Lesotho forward. But when you look at the opposite sides, the governments, as they say, you could see almost 80% of new faces that have never been to Parliament, faces that I want to believe 2-3 years ago would never even think of being members of Parliament. But they said they are pushed, they want to see Lesotho move into a different trajectory altogether, and they want to be part of that transition.
And what are we seeing, Rapelang? Are we seeing newer faces, as in the age bar has also gone down a little lower than what Lesotho is used to?
Absolutely, you are right. From very young faces in terms of youth, young people. One of the ladies that I was talking to, one of the very young, and I understand there's even a younger person who is a male who has joined the ranks, and they say some of those are history-making moments. But also there was also another interesting moment whereby someone who is the former Chief Justice was being sworn in by somebody who is the King's Council of State. A little bit of a history moment coming together. We will likely be seeing the first female deputy prime minister, if the information that we have is correct. But we also saw a very young deputy speaker, which is a female also. So it's a combination, but we are also seeing well-established businessmen who said we are coming into government knowing very well that it is broke, it is out of funds, but we are willing to sacrifice whatever we have that we make sure that this economy works. Otherwise, if it collapses, we all go down with it.
It must be a bittersweet moment, Rapelang, as you mentioned, the display of wealth or prosperity with those cars that you mentioned. I mean, it's very difficult not to notice. I saw you speak to the Prime Minister designate, and he was saying as a businessman they're pretty much well calibrated for this type of task. But this incoming administration faces that mammoth task of balancing the economy that's in free fall and the lack of service delivery. How will these expectations be met?
Absolutely. You know, I was privileged to actually have a deeper, I think, more conversation with him way in the rural mountains, and where I think it was even before he was convinced that he will one day stand for the position of the Prime Minister. And I really wanted to know how he started in business and where he is going. He says, coming from abject poverty, from a village where you would not even imagine or think, he understands, he knows how the ordinary people live, the challenges, the aspirations that they have. And he says he believes that if people are given a chance, a lot of us can really transform and even become catalysts for change. And he was saying he is someone who wants to make sure that the ground is laid for people to excel in their own. And he wants to listen to people such that you meet their needs, not what you think they need. But he said he's already talking to investors, he's talking to businessmen who are willing to invest. And if you go with what we heard, the caliber of business people, the investors who will be coming for the inauguration, simply to come and witness what has ignited this kind of change into Lesotho. And these are people who are already willing to participate, willing to see what Lesotho can provide, that they can be a part to the growing of the economy. I think that is where he's looking and said, it's your networks, is knowing how to put resources together, and it's knowing how to select the best team that you can come up with a working formula. And he says he doesn't have loads and trucks of money, but he wants to make sure that his experience and the experience of the others who have joined in the core can come together and say, let us build together.
Well, Rapelang, and no doubt we'll hear from you on Friday when you bring us the very latest on the inauguration and who is expected to be there. You mentioned President Cyril Ramaphosa might just be one of those. Thank you very much, Rapelang Radebe, correspondent in Lesotho.